All right, the doctor is in. Who's ready for a checkup? You are.
Dr. Sniffs, I'm not ready for a checkup.
But your hand is raised.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Wait, that's just your head. Wait, why is your head hand-shaped?
My head's not hand-shaped.
It gives the term facepalm another meaning, eh? Boop.
Get your hand off my head.
I can't do that.
Why not?
Because there's super glue on it.
What?
Aha! I got you. You are like, oh no, ah! But seriously though, your head is fine. I mean, it's a little hand-shaped.
For the last time, my head is not hand-shaped. How are you even a doctor?
Well, I will have you know that I took years and years of classes. Well, one class, the online. But I assure you that I am a doctor. Well, I mean, I think. Let me see what my license says. You are a doctor. Yes.
This conversation is over.
But it's not over.
But I think it is.
No, but it's not. That's what today's segment's about. Even when you think it's over, it isn't. Because you know, when God is in it, it's not over.
Well, you're kind of right. That is what today's segment is about. But could you please let me say it for once? It's kind of my job.
I don't mind at all. You go right ahead and tell everyone that at your worst moment, Jesus sees you.
Thank you. Hey, wait a minute.
Nope. You go ahead. I mean, it's true. I mean, whenever we're suffering and then we're feeling all alone and maybe completely ignored, but that's not the case. You know, Jesus sees us. So you go ahead, tell them. But nothing. I won't stop you from telling everyone about when you feel all alone and only things can get worse, that Jesus knows the pain you feel. I mean, he's right there by your side.
This is impossible.
No, it isn't impossible because you know, when God is in it, it isn't over. And everyone is going to see some amazing miracles that God has done. Because remember, when God is in it, it isn't over.
You're giving me a headache.
Well, if my head was hand-shaped, it would ache an awful lot. But you know what? God can fix it. Well, my time here is up and I'm going to see you next time for your next checkup. Take 2 of these, boop, boop, and call me in the morning. The doctor is out.
Hey.
Hey.
Don't tell me.
Yep, Dr. Sniffs.
Are you sure he's not invisible?
I'm pretty sure. We'll figure it out.
Okay, you want to talk about it?
No, that's okay. Let's just go ahead with the segment.
Alrighty. Good morning, everyone. We come to you with some incredible news. A boy was just brought back to life.
Wow.
Let's take it over to our reporter on the scene. Over to you, Ima.
Hey guys, I'm a messenger here, and I have the 411 on what happened with this boy. Okay, so this is the information that I gathered today. Jesus had been doing what he often did, teaching a large group of people about the amazing love of God. And as they entered into the city of Nain, they noticed a large group of people coming toward them. These people were actually heading to a funeral. They were carrying the body of a young man who had just died. And his mother was a widow, and that just means that her husband died as well. Now she was all alone. Her son was all she had, and he was dead now. Jesus walked up to the funeral and spoke to the widow, though. "Don't cry," Jesus said to the widow. Don't cry? Did Jesus actually tell the mother of the young man who had just died, don't cry? How can a woman who has just lost her son to death not cry? It almost seemed as if Jesus was uncaring. But the truth is, Jesus had a plan. Jesus told the people who were carrying the body of the dead young man to set him down. And when they did, Jesus walked over to the body, laid his hands on the young man, and said, "Get up." Immediately, the boy took a deep breath. He opened his eyes. Then he sat up. The young man was no longer dead. He was alive. His mother began to shout for joy. The people began to cheer. She thought it was over for her son. She thought there was no way she would ever see him alive again. But Jesus had other plans. He proved that day that when God is in it, it's not over. So even when it seems like everything is over and it's just too late for a miracle, Jesus can always show up and turn things around. Because after all, when God is in it, it's not over. Wow. I mean, now you know what I know. Such an amazing thing, huh? Jesus pretty much ruined a funeral. In a good way, though. In a really good way. All right. I'm a messenger, and I'm sending you back to the Wright sisters. Bye.
Whoa. That was incredible. Thank you, Lima, for that story. Let's learn today's power verse. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10.
That power verse made me think of a game I saw last night. How many of you love to watch football? Have you ever been to a game where the winning team came from behind to win? You know, the team was behind by several scores and there was only a few minutes left to play. It seemed like the game was basically over. Then out of nowhere, the home team scores. Then they score again. And in the final seconds, they score the winning touchdown and the crowd goes wild. They thought it was all over, but the home team pulled off a miracle. Well, it might have been a pretty cool win, but you and I both know it wasn't a miracle. But in our Bible story today, we definitely learned about a true miracle that happened when it seemed like it was over. The young man was already dead, and the mom felt like it was all over. But she soon found that Jesus had other plans. Do you remember how it happened? The woman felt all alone. She was walking through the streets on her way to her son's funeral. She was sadder than she had ever been in her life. She had already lost her husband, and now she lost her son. It seemed like things couldn't possibly get any worse, but Jesus saw her from across the street. He saw the pain in her eyes, and he approached this mother in her worst moment. And do you know what that teaches us? At your worst moment, Jesus sees you.
You know, you might be facing the worst situation of your life. You might be full of more sadness than you have ever felt in your life. You may feel more alone than you have ever felt in your life. But even in your worst moment, Jesus sees you. He saw that mother and he sees you. He knows exactly where you are. You may feel like Jesus is far away, but he is right beside you. He sees and knows exactly what you are going through. Not only that, but Jesus knows the pain you feel. Jesus knows the pain you feel. He knows how sad you are. Do you remember what he did with the mother who had lost her son? He walked over, took her hand, and said, "Don't cry." He knew that she felt like her world was shattered. He knew that she felt like she was all alone. He even knew that she was full of pain and sorrow. But he also knew something she didn't know. He knew what was about to happen, and he knew that when God is in it, it's not over.
Just when the mother thought it was all over, Jesus raised her son from the dead. 1 minute before Jesus showed up, the mother was going through the saddest moment of her life. 1 minute after Jesus showed up, she was experiencing the happiest moment of her life. Her son was no longer dead. He was alive. No matter what you are going through today, Jesus raised her son from the dead, and 1 minute before Jesus showed up, you may be sick. The next minute, you may be completely well. 1 minute before, you may be full of sadness. And 1 minute later, Jesus shows up and fills you up with joy. It may seem like it's all over and never going to change, but when God is in it, it's not over.
You know, I am so glad it's not over. Well, you know, just remember it's never too late for a miracle. Thank you for joining us for today's segment. Bye.